Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to McMorran Place Arena for tonight. 276 seniors stand before us, waiting to be the 130th class to graduate from Port Huron High School. We would like to extend a special greeting tonight to all of our parents, families, and to the alumni. At this time, would you please look at your program with me? And the center insert section indicates tonight the seniors in this graduating class who have either a parent or parents and or grandparent or grandparents who also, besides them, have graduated from Port Huron High School and are alumni. So at this time, let's salute those alumni members who are parents and grandparents by asking them to stand, and I'd like the class in the audience to join with me in congratulating them. Also, please stand, alumni. Big Red. For this class, these seniors, they have spent 13 years in our schools, and they have completed the past 2 weeks of senior activities, which included the prom, senior assembly, backyard this Sunday, and then tonight commencement, and later this evening at 10:30 at the YMCA, their first class reunion, project graduation. I would like at this time to personally, for all of us at Big Red Country, to congratulate each and every one of these seniors who are here with us tonight for their contribution not only to their school, but also to their community. Thank you very much. You're wonderful. Thank you. Before I go any further, there are some people I'd like to thank for their dedication and hard work for the past year in preparation for this week and this night. First of all, the assistant principals, Mr. Dave Ethley, Mr. Ken Semmelberger, and Mr. Mark Law. The technical assistance of one of our teachers, Mr. Keith Hodge, has been just fantastic. Thank you, Keith, for all that. We couldn't have done it without you. And of course, the help with the marching and all the hard work behind the scenes by our POV teachers, Mr. Al Vandenberg, Mr. Jeff Story, and Mr. Ken Nemi. Thank you very much. I'd also at this time like to thank Larry Kraybach, who really works hard for our schools here at McMorran, preparing for tonight with the programs and the technical things that happen here in the arena. Thank you, Larry. At this time, I would like to introduce to everyone the senior class president, Mandy Schuster, who will give tonight's invocation.
Good evening. We come here tonight to celebrate the great accomplishment that we all have made. Even though each of our spiritual beliefs differ, we all join together tonight for the same reason. We thank our parents, families, teachers, staff, and friends for believing in us and helping to shape us into the people that we are striving to become. We appreciate everything that everyone has done to help us make it this far, but also to ask for support and guidance for our future endeavors as we start off on our new, exciting journey through life. We will remember all the lessons and memories that we have made over our years at Port Huron High School, and then use these experiences to keep us safe as we venture off into this new world.
Will the audience please stand for the singing and the playing of the national anthem? which will be performed tonight by Katie Duncan, Dina Hossein, and accompanied by Matthias Bushman. Thank you, Katie, Lena, and Matthias. We appreciate you. Nice job. Will the class of 1998 please be seated? Tonight at 10:30, following this ceremony, the graduating class of 1998 will be holding its project graduation. This celebration starts at 10:30 and it's held at our YMCA locally. This is an event we don't want any of our seniors to miss. We have over $8,000 in gifts to give away to the seniors tonight, who will spend the entire evening in this safe and supervised environment during this commencement activity afterwards. We would like at this time to thank all those who made it possible through their commitment in our community, the local businesses, and all the parents who participated and helped. By the way, seniors, just in case many of you seniors have not yet purchased a ticket, you may do so if you have permission slips, and do that at the Y tonight after the program. I'd like to give a special thanks at this time to the two co-chairs of Project Graduation, Mr. John Lofquist and Mr. Eugene Bauman. Gino has done this for years. We appreciate all the work that these two gentlemen and their co-chairs of all the different 12 committees that we have. Thank you for all the time, parents, for all the work you did for these seniors. We appreciate it. Thank you. At this time, it's my privilege to be able to introduce to everyone Mr. William D. Kimball, the superintendent for the Port Huron Area School District, who will introduce to us tonight's speaker, Mr. Kimball.
Port Huron High School graduates, very best. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the parents, grandparents, other family members that have supported you and supported the teachers and the employees of the district in this joint venture of your education, which has been a real interesting experience for you as well as for us. We're very, very proud of you tonight. It's a particular honor for me to be here tonight. It's the first time I've been here as the school superintendent. 35 years ago, I sat right out there where you're sitting tonight as a 1963 graduate of Fort Huron High School here in this arena. And I say that because looking back on those 35 years, as I was preparing for graduation this evening, I started to think about the choices that led me to the position I'm in today and the choices that you're going to have to make in your life. Make good choices that you'll be proud of yourself, and that your parents will be proud of you, and you'll be very happy with yourself. It's my honor tonight to introduce to you Mr. Bernie Segu, who has been a member of the Iowa High School Athletic Association staff for 34 years. He has served as the executive director for the last 30 years. Bernie's background consists of being a teacher, coach, principal, and businessman. He is the past president of the National Federation of State High School Associations. He was the chairperson for the National Basketball Rules Committee for 8 years and served on the Football Rules Committee for 25 years. He served on the United States Olympic House of Delegate Committee. He currently is a trustee of Buena Vista University. As a hobby, Bernie refereed high school and college basketball and football for 30 years. The Board of Control of the Iowa High School Athletic Association in 1989 established an award in his name. This award honors an outstanding citizen athlete, boy or girl, in every one of the 400 high schools in the state of Iowa, and each winner receives a beautiful plaque in his name. Mr. Segu was inducted into the National Federation of State High Schools Hall of Fame in 1993. In December 1995, Mr. Segu was awarded the Award of Merit from the National High School Athletic Directors Association, the highest honor that organization presents to one individual a year. He was selected in 1996 as one of the top 20 individuals in the last 20 years to do the most for improving officiating in our country by Referee Magazine. Please help me welcome to Fort Huron High School graduation tonight, Mr. Bernie Segu.
Thank you very much. All I can say is, wow. I've been to a lot of graduations, but I'll tell you what, when you came in tonight, the response you got from the people who love you was super. Every time one of those movie cameras went click, 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 it was saying, we love you, we're proud of you. And that's the truth. You know, once in a while we get confused on truth. I tell the story, you see, I'm from Iowa, we got a lot of little towns in Iowa. One of our little towns had a terrible thing happen, seniors. A fellow won $20 million. You say that's bad? It was bad. He had a bad heart. He was an old gentleman. And they didn't know he'd won, and they said, how can we tell him he's won $20 million? So seniors, they had a meeting. They said to the minister, you go tell him. And the minister said, why me? They say, we voted. You lost. He got in his car, seniors. He started in the country to tell this old gentleman he'd won $20 million. The closer he got to his house, the more excited the minister got. All of a sudden he gets there, he walks up, he knocks on the door, and Henry comes to the door, he says, Henry, it's a beautiful day. He said, preacher, it is a beautiful day. If you'll step out of the rain, you won't get nearly as much standing out there. He says, I want to ask you one question. He says, if you won $20 million, what would you do? Without hesitation, he says, why, preacher, I'd get back to the church. Preacher died right there on the step. So the moral of the story is sometimes the truth is hard to take. Now the truth is, seniors, I know how important graduation speakers are. They claim out of every 50 graduating seniors, later, they will not remember the name of the speaker or what he talked about. And that's the truth. But you know, I'm going to try something on different tonight. I'd like to walk out here and be very sober and go, seniors, you have been lied to long enough by your parents, the teacher, and this whole administration. Well, it's the truth. How many times have you heard, the happiest years of your life are when you are in school? Ah, seniors! They've been great years, but let me tell you something. The happiest years of your life are ahead of you and not behind you. And that is the truth. And the reason that's true, seniors, you live in the greatest country in the world. Not perfect, but the greatest. I'm always reminded of my son, Jeff, was Huron. He was my first child. I went up to the hospital, seniors, and I was just a young football coach. Here they brought old Jeff up, wrapped in a blanket, and they handed him to me, and I grabbed a hold of him. I didn't know how hard to squeeze that dude, but I wasn't going to fumble him. You bet on that. You know something, seniors? I really didn't know what I had hold of. You see, Jeff was like every one of us in this beautiful arena tonight, at 1 hour old. He had no knowledge in the brain. He had no love in his heart, and no patriotism in his blood. We could have taken Jeff and me and boys and girls just like him and flown him any country in this world. And with a big airplane will land, wouldn't change that country one bit. Today we could take a million youngsters from any country in this world and fly them over America 1 hour old. Wouldn't change America one bit. It's not the water we drink. It's not the air we breathe. It's a system of freedom and education. That's what makes us different. And seniors, I hope you all believe this in your heart. Not one of us in this arena tonight had a choice who our parents were going to be. Not one of us had a choice whether we were brown, black, or white. Not one of us had a choice with boy or girl, American, Russian, Chinese, Japanese, but once in America, seniors, the freedom of choice to be what you want to be. That's what's important. And tonight is one of your big steps. You're leaving high school. Whatever direction you go, remember, the freedom of choice is so important. And some people forget that. I tell you this, it comes from the bottom of my heart, kids. If there's a hell on this earth, it's getting up every day the rest of your life and going to a job you do not like. 60% of all the adults in America do that. Hey, seniors, take the time to be what you want to be. It's not the money. It's not the materialistic things. It's the thrill of doing something you'll love the rest of your life. No matter how much you study, how hard you work, get what you want. It is really your choice. Well, every once in a while, people forget this. You just take the ability God's given you and be what you want. It's really simple. And a lot of people get that confused. I'm reminded of the story, and there's probably not too many farm people in here tonight, but I was raised on a farm in Iowa, so I have to tell it to you. There was a young fellow going to university. He went out in the country, he was going to preach a sermon. 7 miles straight north of town, he got lost. And he went over, he knocked on the farm door, and there was nobody there. So seniors, he could hear music. It was coming from the barn. Kid never been in the barn in his life. Walked down that barn door, and there was a typical senior citizen milking his favorite cow. And when you're a good milker, that old milk's just going zing, 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 zing. He had things working real well. And the young man said, "Sir." The old gentleman never looked up, seniors. He just kept right on working. He said, "Yep." He said, "Sir, I'm lost. How do I go to Liberty Church?" He says, "Liberty Church. You go back out the lane. Turn left. You come to the first corner. There's the church." The young man said, "Thank you, sir." He said, "Sir, I didn't bring my watch. Could you tell me what time it is?" The old boy never looked up. He put his hand in that bag, seniors, and he went, "It is 6:15. Shook that kid up. He said, "Sir, how could you tell what time it was?" He said, "Young'un, come on over here and sit on this stool." The young man sat on the stool and said, "Put your hand in that bag." And I looked it up. A little higher. Look at the walls, the clock over there says 6:16 right over there. And the moral of that story is, kids, it ain't hard if you know how. Hey, learn how. That's what Think about that, seniors. What a choice. Now, let's take me. A little squirt like me. I've never been a professional basketball player. But you know something? The guy a half inch shorter than me won the NBA slam dunk contest. Now, I could have refereed him, they asked me to do that. I could have coached them. I could have been their trainer, their lawyer. I could have worked in their building selling tickets. There was a place for me in professional basketball if I really wanted it. There's a place. And incidentally, those great big tall basketball players, those long legs, they couldn't be jockeys either. No, their feet would drag on the track, that's why. But you know something, seniors? They could own the horse. They could train it. They could be the veterinarian. There's a place for whatever you want. If you can dream it. If you set a goal, seniors, and you gain all the skill and knowledge. Skill and knowledge, that's education, kids. Skill and knowledge. And you never give up. Whatever you want, you're going to have, you're going to be so close, it really will make a lot of difference. And you've got to believe that. Some people don't. And now we have a state fair. And there was an old gentleman outside the gate selling balloons. And when the crowd would come in, he'd let a few balloons go. He'd let a red balloon go and a white balloon go. And there was a little boy watching it. The little boy happened to be black. The little boy walked over and he said, "Sir, if you let one of those black balloons go, it would go up." And he put his arm around the young man and he said, "Son, it's not what's on the outside of balloons that make them go up. It's what's inside that make them go up." Hey, seniors, it's what's in here. Some are tall in here, some are short, some white, some brown, but hey, it's what's inside. That's what you take. That's what's important. But we forget that. When we start thinking things we want to do. I don't know if any of you seniors play a violin. I hope not. I had a daughter in the 3rd grade. Mom and dad and grandparents in the 3rd grade. She started that crazy violin. Drive you crazy. I'd come home from work and I'd say to my wife, "How much longer is she going to practice?" She'd say, 15 minutes. I'd say, "Good. I'll stay outside with the dog. Have the best trained dog in town." But you know the funny thing about all 3rd graders? They grow up to be beautiful seniors like you. We didn't have a building to hold 3,000 people, so they had the musical down the football field. Becky walked out and she picked up that violin, seniors, and she made that baby tone. Man, I was proud. I come floating out of that football stadium, and Sunday afternoon I'm just so excited, and some lady said, "This is Papa." I said, "Yes." She said, "Oh, that Becky of yours is just a natural violinist." I said, "Wait a minute. She's not a natural violinist. 1 hour a day, 5 days a week. She worked for everybody else to play that violin. Nothing will come easy, seniors. You just work at it. And if you want it badly, it's yours." Well, every once in a while people are afraid to want things because they're afraid of failure. I got to tell you something, seniors. I have never known a successful person who didn't fail. I'm an athletic, so once in a while I refer to athletes. Babe Ruth, who had a record for the most shutouts in baseball, which few people understand. But he had another record for the most home runs that got broke. The only record he's got left, he struck out more times than anybody that ever played baseball. And in this room, you senior boys, there's a guy named Pete Rose that has the most hits of anybody who ever played baseball. I'll bet you there are 20 guys in the senior class that can run faster than Pete Rose. And I'll bet you there's 10 of you who throw a baseball better than you'd ever throw a baseball. But he got the most hits. Somebody will probably beat that record. There's one record, seniors, I don't think anybody will break. The most outs. Anybody who breaks his record will play 15 years of Major League Baseball. Come to bat 600 times a season. And will never get on first base. That's how many outs he made. Oh. Tonight, I believe there's a basketball game going on. A minor thing compared to this. A guy named Michael Jordan, who I like to think is the greatest basketball player we ever had. When he was a freshman in high school, he was cut from the basketball squad. because he wasn't good enough. Think about that. My wife and I love music. I joked about the violin. I love music as much as I love athletics. And she and I were sitting on the couch watching two kids figure skate. And the music was beautiful, and they had a spotlight on those kids, and as they skated, it was just unbelievable. And all of a sudden, boom, it was over. I get a little excited once in a while. I jumped up and I said to my wife, that is what we want for every kid in this country, right there. She said, oh, Bernie, what do you think their marks will be? I said, Lois, who cares what the marks are going to be? And they skated to the side. And the guy took a great big mic and he stuck it up. And this guy, here he was, all 6'6" of him. He had a little sawed-off rump for a sister. They were adopted, and they skated together for 13 years. And the guy said to him, what do you think your marks are going to be? He looked down at his sister with all the love he could generate, and he said, we really don't care. We just did the best that we could do. That's seniors. That's success. They didn't win the gold. They won something more important. They knew that they had done their best. And that's all we ask of anybody. I'd like to share with you, which I think is the biggest problem in America, and it's only groups like you kids that are going to make a change. It goes like this. Once upon a time, there was a quiet principal. As you know, seniors, they are very hard to find. And this quiet high school principal had a school just like yours. I was brainwashed today, seniors. From the time I got off the airplane until I got here and went through your school, I've been brainwashed. All I heard was good things. Mom and Dad, all I heard today was good things about these kids. All I heard today was how proud they were of their schools. That doesn't happen accidental. That's why people are proud to stand tonight for alumni of this great high school. Oh yes. This quiet principal had a school just like this. A homecoming football game, you know that's exciting. And all week everything had gone super good. And all of a sudden, he looks at his watch and he says, it's 3:30. The game starts at 7:30. I'm going to take a ride out in the country. And he got in his car, seniors, and he started up a river road, and he had the window rolled down, his arm out the window, and he's looking around, and over there was a couple of fellows working in the fields. The leaves started turning color here, and all of a sudden he began to realize this crazy place just didn't happen. Somebody had to create it. He's in the right frame of mind, and bam! A car came right around the curve, right at him. And there's an arm out the window of that car waving like this. And when that car got here, that arm belonged to a young woman. She stuck her head out the window and she yelled, pig! This quiet principal stuck his head out the window and yelled, drop dead! Then he went around the curve and he ran over 3 big pigs. Now, seniors, there's 2 morals to that story. Sometimes people are trying to tell us something we ain't listening. The second thing, seniors, the biggest problem in America. Here's a beautiful human being thinking of God. 5 seconds later, another beautiful human being trying to help him and tell him to drop dead. That's called the bad attitude. Seniors, attitude is the name of the game. Whatever you do with a good attitude. Problems? Problems are a way of life. Problems are opportunities. Without problems, there will never be progress. And your attitude to problems, kids, will decide what kind of life you're really going to have. There's 2 types of people. Those that find solutions to problems, and the other group finds problems to the solution. There's very little difference in people. The difference is attitude. And the big difference was negative or positive. Be positive, people. I have a friend that works for me for 27 years. He's a little negative. I don't know how many of you people play golf. I play a little golf. I came back from a golfing vacation, and I'd taken my wife, and I had her paint me a golf ball with stripes, all different colors on that ball. I walked by his office, and I held that ball in there, and I said, look at that. He said, what is that? I said, that's a magic ball. Now here's the negativism. What's so magic about that ball? You cannot lose it. What do you mean you can't lose it? You cannot lose it. He said, when it goes in those high weeds, you won't find it in those high weeds. I said, just take your club and hit the weeds. He goes, eep, you cannot lose this ball. How about the lake? You'll hit the lake, 15 foot of water. There goes your magic ball. Floats. You cannot lose this ball. He says, you lose it in the dark. Some night we're playing late. I said, Luminates, you cannot lose this ball. He said, where did you get it? I said, I found it. Seniors. As I walk through your beautiful school today, and it is a beautiful school, it reeks with pride. As I walk through there, it reminds me of school in Iowa, where young girls of Southmore walked through the hall one morning, and one of her friends jumped out from behind a locker and said, boo! Scared her. She threw her head back, seniors. She drove 2 wires up through her eyes, and she became totally blind in 30 seconds. I listened to that beautiful young lady talk. She said she realized she had 2 choices. You see kids' choices? 2 choices. She could sit back and watch the world go by blind, or she could go out and she could make it happen. As a high school senior, she ran the 100-meter dash, totally blind. She has 3 gold medals for downhill skiing Olympics, coming down a mountain, 40 miles an hour, and she's only got 2 things going for her. Somebody on skis in front of her, she can hear their skis going, shh, shh, and a voice say, left, right, left, right. She's climbed the most dangerous mountain in America, she's totally blind. And some people say, I don't know if I can do that or not. Oh. Hey, seniors, the only limitations you have are self-imposed. Nobody, not in this country, can tell you what you can or can't be if it's good. Don't ever forget that. I was talking today with your athletic director. He's so proud of the athletic program and all the things you've done. We had a young man years ago go to Texas to go to school. He was a high jumper. And when 7 foot was a real high jump, he had cleared seniors. 6'10", that high. And every time they put the bar 7 foot, blink, he'd knock that baby off. He kept telling his buddies, I want to make 7 foot, I want to make 7 foot. They got so sick and tired of listening to him. They took him to collection. They shouldn't have done this, but they did. They had him hypnotized. He goes to track practice, doesn't know where he's at. He jumped 7'2". Didn't even get to see it. The next night of track practice, the coach shows a monitor that shows the shot putter to the hurdler, and then they threw up in that ball, that high jumper jumped 7'2". And his buddies all jumped up, and they all started to clap, and he jumped up, he says, turn it off! It's a dirty lie! I cannot jump 7 foot, and I know it. Coach grabbed him by the arm and said, that was you. Everybody in this room saw you do it. 31 minutes later, seniors, he went to track practice. He jumped 7'4". He went the next 6 track meets and cleared over 7 foot. Maybe the greatest teacher who was ever on this earth answered the question. As a man thinketh, he will be. As a woman thinketh, she will be. If you can see yourself being something beautiful and good, it's going to happen. But if you can't, chances are it won't happen. I look at this beautiful waterway here. I had a chance to watch those big boats today, and that's something. A guy from Iowa, get to see those big boats, kids. What a beautiful place to live. We have little lakes. We have sailboats on the lake. I've got a guy that's 87 years old. He's got a sailboat. He takes that sailboat out, kids, every day. And I put the glasses on him, I watch him, and I keep telling my wife, look, he is going to tip that baby over today. He's going to tip over today. 7 years. He hasn't tipped that thing over yet. One day I said to him, which way is the wind today? He's getting ready to take that goofy thing out. And he says, Barney, I do not direct the wind. I adjust the sails. It took me 10 minutes to figure that out, seniors. Laws change, rules change. This is a little sad now. 5 years from now, 3 of the people here tonight, I can't tell you what 3, will not be here. You're going to have to learn to adjust. You're going to lose a brother or sister, a mother, father, grandparent, friend. You must learn to adjust your sails. If you can't learn to adjust, you tip one of those babies over. It's bad. Believe me. Learn to adjust. The world does not come to an end. Develop a quality and consistent attitude. If people come to you, things vibrate once in a while. Don't let that bother you, kids. Have a high quality and consistent attitude. That's all there is to it. Iowa State University is only located 15 miles from my home. 4 years ago, they had 7 beautiful students take their lives. Suicide notes. 7. They polled the student body. 1 out of 4 students said they didn't think life was worth living at times. Hey, seniors, life is beautiful. You will never have a problem you and somebody you love can't solve. That's it. That's called attitude. Oh yes, you're going to be in probably the most fast-changing society we've ever had. By the year 2015, they say knowledge will double every week. Think of that, seniors. Knowledge will double every week. When I was born in a little town in Iowa, if the good Lord had come down and put his hand on my head and said, this dude right here, he's the sharpest one I've ever created. He knows everything that's known to man today. But he will never learn another new thing. Tonight, at 70 years old, I would know 1% of what's known to man. The boy or girl born in this beautiful community in the year 2015, if the good Lord comes down and puts that hand on that girl or that boy and says, this is the smartest one I've ever created, knows everything that's known to man today, will never learn another new thing, in 6 weeks, they will know only 2%. Seniors, learn how to learn. You can't learn it all. Learn how to learn. That's the secret. Mom and Dad across America, it's an indictment to our families. The average senior in America, graduating this year from high school, will have watched 25,000 hours of television so far during their life. To watch that much television takes 52 weeks a year, 40 hours a week, for 12 and a half years. And on television, outside of news, weather, and sports, only 2% is true. Somebody writes it up, acts it out, maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. The real world seniors is right here tonight. The real world is right here tonight. The one thing that impressed me the most about this community is talking to everybody, and I'll tell you what I'll be talking about when I travel across this country for the next 5 years. That you've got the secret to education. It's called pride. I watched the way you kids treated the faculty members and the administrators. It's respect and pride for one another. It's a two-way street. My wife and I, we were coming back from summer school when I was a young man, going to school in the summer. We were coming through Yellowstone Park, seniors, and there were all kinds of bears sitting alongside the road. And the kids kept yelling, let's stop and take a picture of the bears! Let's take a picture of the bears! I am scared of bears. I said 7,000 times, no, no! Finally, I said, all right, we're going to stop this car and take a picture of those bears. I said to my wife, Lois, you get out and take a picture of those bears. And my wife says, why me? They said they got to roll in the park, the guy behind the wheel can't get out. Just like all those little cameras, people taking your pictures tonight. I wasn't kidding you when they taking those pictures saying they love you. I meant that from the heart. Hey, my wife got out that little camera. There were 3 bears sitting there, and I kept yelling, Lois, get closer, get closer. And all of a sudden, seniors, one of the big old bears got up, and he started to walk towards Lois, and I'm yelling, Lois, and the kids are yelling, Mommy, Mommy, get in the car, get in the car. So she took a picture of that bear, just like your parents are going to do. The pictures they've taken tonight, they will keep for the rest of their lives. We got that picture of that crazy bear. We show it to friends when they come to the house once in a while. We say, our brave mother took this picture. Did you ever see a bear without a head? No feet and sideways? We got one. About 10 years later, we're going back to Yellowstone Park, and I said, pictures of the bears. This time, I bought one of those fancy cameras where you can zoom them up from a long ways away. Tell you what, seniors, we go to that park and I don't see any bears. I drive fast with no bears. All of a sudden I see a guy with a big hat and I know, whoa, that dude works here. I stop the car and I go, sir, could you tell me where the bears are at? He says, we told you not to feed the bears. Not feed them, click them, pictures. He says, we told you not to feed the bears. I said, look, don't you get me angry today. You just tell me where the bears are at. He said, I'm sorry. When the winter ended, we buried 60 bears. Two died of natural causes. 58 starved to death. The more they fed them, the more they begged, the more they fed them, until all of a sudden, when the winter came, they lost their pride and they died. What a proud group you are. You've got all kinds of pride. That would never happen to you people. You know, seniors, with all the grandparents and friends and moms and dads here tonight, you know, it's a crazy thing. And you've heard this maybe 100 times. I hope it rests with you tonight in your heart when you tell your mom and dad you love them. If people make fun of your religion, they make fun of your family, they make fun of your morals, your goals, your dreams, forget them. Share your life with the people who really love you. Some people will never find that out. They're the ones you want to share with. You see, seniors, none of us in this room can do anything about the length of our life. What we can do a lot about its depth and its width. That's the part that you want to do. I'd like to share one other person with you. You've been such a great group. I told you about I have one son. He's a young doctor. He's a young eye surgeon. My Jeff did the one thing I always wanted him to do. We parents are not supposed to tell you what to do, but we can kind of once in a while hint. And I always wanted to be a teacher because in my heart I believe outside of parents, teachers have more to do with our kids' lives than the other group of people besides parents. Jeff was a freshman. We have a high school, it's not as big as yours. We have 1,100 kids in our high school. Jeff came into my office and he asked me for $25. And I said, what do you need 25 bucks for? He said, a pair of gym shoes. And I said, where can you buy basketball shoes for 25 bucks? He said, Dad, they are not basketball shoes, they're wrestling shoes. You can tell I'm very easygoing. I got in the chair and grabbed him by the throat. I said, I put up more baskets, more rims, and more nets than Big Tom, and now you're going to wrestle? He said, Dad, when's the last time you heard of anybody 5'4" starting on the varsity basketball team? I said, not lately. He said, Dad, I want to do it now. He became our 95-pounder in those days, seniors. He lost every match but one. Kid didn't make weight one time, and we counted that as a victory. But then all of a sudden, he got to be to the place he had to go, skill and knowledge, and never give up, and never give up. All of a sudden, he's a sophomore. And we take wrestling very serious in our state. We had 80,000 people at our wrestling tournament this year. And so, Jeff was 6 seconds away going to our state wrestling tournament. And I'm holding onto those hard bleachers. You know, I work for an athletic association. Money is not important. All of a sudden, the referee blew the whistle. The boy on the bottom was hurt, and Jeff was ahead 6-5. The boy came back to the middle of the mat. He reversed Jeff with 1 second to go, and Jeff got beat. Jeff came home that night, had all the lights turned off. Men don't like to cry in front of each other. And I just grabbed a hold of him, kids, and I grabbed him around the neck, and I said, we love you. And that's all that's important in this life. He said, I got beat. I said, you're going to try it again? He said, next time you get a chance. And I told him something. You've got to have some besides education. We take that for granted. You've got to have some values, some discipline, dedication, respect, desire, things like that. He said, I believe you, Dad. And he said this to me, Dad, remember you can't have a good life without goals. I never forgot that. He went on to Wisconsin, was a Big Ten wrestler. He wrestled first string for 2 years. And then seniors, he became a second stringer. He came home at Christmas time when he was a senior. We went downstairs to the basement of our house where we had a mat, and we started wrestling. He'd always lock the door so I couldn't run upstairs to Mother. He got done working me over, and I said, how often am I going to get this over Christmas vacation? He says, Dad, wrestling starts next Monday. I said, wait a minute. You're going to have to go back for 2 weeks. He says, wrestling starts. Seniors, I said the wrong thing. I said, oh, Jeff, you don't have to go back. You're a second stringer. Should never have said that. I learned a lot of illegal holes he'd never shown me before. And he told me something. He said, Dad, I was picked as the hardest worker on the squad, so I had to get my goals first. I got in front of the squad and I said, I will never miss a night of practice. I'll work harder than anybody else in this room. And if the 118-pounder or the 126-pounder ever get hurt, I'll be proud to take their place. They're not only my teammates, but I love them. And I said, that's just the way I want you to do it. He came back and he was a young teacher, going down the highway at 40 miles an hour. He was killed. We lost old Jeff. I couldn't read a sports page kids for 2 months. During that period of time, the 126-pound national champion, the first one Wisconsin ever had, was Jeff's teammate. And then a year later in Norman, Oklahoma, the 118-pound national champion was Jeff's other teammate, the first one they'd ever had. And then Mom and I said to each other, maybe that's the reason there's so many of us second stringers, just to make the first stringers better. And then we got our heads screwed on right now, kids. Maybe the reason God put us on this earth was to make everybody just a little bit better. If you can care about people, if you show them you'll really love them, that's what life's all about. It's customary for people to give gifts out, so I'd like to give a gift to the seniors, a gift that I've given to my grandson. I have 2 granddaughters. I only have 1 boy left. And it's a tradition in our family, we want to keep the Sago name going. And so I said to my son after 2 daughters, David, we have got to have a son pretty soon. Well, all of a sudden, our beautiful daughter-in-law gets pregnant again. My wife goes over to spend the week with her, and my daughter-in-law called me and she says, Vern, you got a new grandchild. And I said, wonderful, how do you feel, honey? She said, super. I said, well, good. I said, Chrissy, what is the name of the new baby? She says, we haven't picked a name yet. What names are you considering, Chrissy? We are not considering any right now, Vern. She says, just come on over to Marshalltown, it's 50 miles. I said, okay, should I bring a pink or blue blanket along or anything? She says, just get over here. I walk in, kids. I got this baby wrapped up in a blanket. They handed it to me. It is the ugliest baby I have ever seen. She said, would you like to know its name? And I said, yeah, let's have it. And she says, Bernie Jeffrey III. That was the best looking kid I've ever seen in my life. I'll tell you what, seniors, I talked for about 20 minutes with him. I said, I gotta go home. She said, can you come back tomorrow and I'll bring him home? I said, sure. I start to walk out of the hospital, like all those parents in this room. Walked by that baby room, they had that great big room with all those baby baskets. They only had 3 baskets in there that night. I got in my car and I started our home, kids, and I got a little melancholy. Thinking of my dad, my son. And I said, Simon, we gotta do something special for this boy. What is it gonna be? I got home that night and I started to walk the treadmill. I had a little heart attack a few years ago. So I'm walking that treadmill. And all of a sudden, seniors, the program ends, and on comes the advertisement. And the music's just blaring, and all of a sudden, all the sound goes, phew. And across there, here was this hospital room with literally every inch of that floor of that hospital baby room had babies in it. And then it said across the screen, not one person in this room hates another. I knew my gift to my grandson would be, he will never hate. Seniors, You're America. We need you. Hatred destroys individuals, marriages, families, schools, communities, and eventually a country. Seniors, you turn it around for us. I have seen no hatred here tonight or this afternoon. This is the last time, except for tonight, when you all get together. Maybe one or two of you will bomb out of that over there tonight. I know that. This will be the last time this beautiful senior class will be together 100%. Seniors, you did such a great job of coming in here tonight. That's the most impressive thing I've seen in graduation ever. If you'd be kind enough, would you please take, and with all the parents and grandparents sitting beside one another, would you please take hold of hands just for a second, please? Seniors, it's simple. I told you a story that was supposed to be funny tonight with regards to being the happiest years of your life. I end with this. Come, grow old with me, for the best of life is yet to be. And seniors, that is the truth. Thank you.
Mr. Sagu, we appreciate your sharing your evening with us tonight. At this time, I'd like to ask President Amanda Schuster to come forward.
On behalf of class of 1998, I would like to thank Mr. Sagu and give him this in appreciation of his hall speech.